in this video, I'm going to talk about the 10 things that you might need for a cake smash session. Look at this really cute cake smash decor. So I'm just waiting for the little boy to come in. So here we have the decor. Parents want mint green with pink. And then here I have the cake with the girl's name. Very pretty. So here we've got the decor. Here's the cake. Okay, so I just added a few paper balls. So here I'm showing you the cake in front of the background. So here's the background. So here we've got the lovely cake in front of the background. Little boy called Benjamin. Like softer colors. And I think it looks really cute. And so whether you're a professional photographer or you just want to take photos of your own child for their first birthday, here are my 10 things that I think you need for a successful cake smash session. I've been photographing for over 5 years here in my own studio and in a previous studio, and I have been doing cake smash sessions since the beginning. It's getting more and more popular. It's fun to use the photos on the invitation for the first birthday party, or to use the photos as far as decor in your home when you celebrate the first birthday party. Yeah, for the first birthday party of our daughter, we did a cake smash session and we used the photos on her invitations. I printed photos and they were all over our home. So what I do during a cake smash session is that I first start with some portrait photos, then we do a quick family photo, then the child gets to eat the cake, and afterwards I have a little bathtub and they can take a bath and we blow some bubbles so that we have photos of every part of this session. And even though they don't like the cake that much and that might only last 2 minutes, we still have like a full session with so many fun photos. So I recommend you to start just with some portrait photos without the cake, with your beautiful decor, so that the child can get used to the camera, get used to the setting, and you know, just play with the balloons, sing some songs, play peekaboo. And then when they feel comfortable, just place the cake in front of them and see what they do. I have kids coming in here who just dive into the cake and they just eat and eat and they won't stop and they just enjoy it so much, and they have their hands in the cake and their feet and their whole face, and they're just happy cake eaters, cake lovers, and they just love it. I've also had kids coming into the studio who really don't want to eat the cake. They have the cake placed in front of them. They dip one finger in the frosting. It kind of scares them because their hands get dirty. They might push away the cake. They want to crawl to their parents. That happens. So then sometimes we get a spoon or a fork and we just feed them little bites. We sing songs. We try to distract them to get some photos of the child with the cake. But it happens that sometimes I have so many cool photos of the child with the cake and they haven't taken a single bite, but they just played with the frosting. That's fine as well. So there are so many different reactions that a child can have towards the cake. Fine, just go with the flow and take cool photos. So which are the 10 items I think you need for a cake smash session? Let me just start with number 1. So first of all, very obvious, you need a camera, but it can be a full frame camera, it can be a crop camera, it can be Nikon, it can be Canon, it can be Sony. Just, you need a camera. So that's the first thing. I use my Nikon D750 and I'm really happy with that camera. I have Nikon D610 as well, also very good camera. Yeah, a camera. You need a camera. Then number 2, you need a lens, and other photographers might give you other opinions towards, you know, what's the best lens to use for a cake smash session. In the studio, like 90% of the time, I use my Nikon 24-70mm lens with my aperture of 2.8. I shoot with an aperture of 3.2, 3.5 usually when I photograph the child alone. When I photograph the child with siblings or parents, I use a smaller aperture so that everybody's in focus. So that's my go-to lens. I mean, if you have a small space and you want to use a prime lens, maybe on top of a crop camera, you might go for the 35mm lens. If you have a full frame camera, you might go for the 50mm lens. There are so many options as far as lenses, but you need a lens, yeah, with your camera. The third thing you need is light. It can be daylight, it can be studio light, but you need some sort of light. And usually it's beautiful when the light comes from the side a little bit, so not completely from the front, because then your photos get really flat. So when the light is coming from one side, it really gives your photo dimension. It's like a 3D effect. So yeah, place the child next to a large window, or learn about like studio lights and then work with that. But you need light. Well, the fourth thing you need is a cake. You need a cake, and well, or at least something to eat. It doesn't have to be a cake. Cake smash session, you can have these giant cupcakes that I use a lot. Recently, I've been moving more towards the naked cakes, like in a boho themed cake smash. I love those cakes. They're just so pretty. But like fresh eucalyptus, fresh flowers, like a drip in a certain color. I love my cakes. But actually for the first birthday of my son, we used a fruit cake. Like just, no, not even a cake, just fruit. I bought a watermelon. I cut out like the base of the cake. Then I put a second layer on top, also watermelon. I decorated it with like grapes cut in half. I think, I don't know, strawberries, blueberries, I don't know. I just decorated it with different pieces of fruit, and he loved it. He was biting into the cake. He was, you know, smashing the cake. It was fruit. It was just pure fruit. He loved it. That was like 3 weeks before his birthday, so we could use the photos for the invitation. And then on his real birthday, he got like a real giant cupcake cake, and he didn't eat it. He like pushed it aside and then he crawled away. I think he took like one bite, but he was not a big fan of the real cake. So you can use, I've seen like other smashes as well with just like Nutella, like the chocolate paste. Gets really brown and messy. What else have I seen? I've seen like taco cake smashes where the kid eats like tacos, spaghetti, whatever. As far as cake smashes, I don't recommend like red frosting, because then it gets kind of like this vampire look going on. And I don't recommend brown frosting either. You know, brown all over the kid's face might not be that pretty. So brown and red I would avoid. And then yeah, you can go crazy with colors. You can keep it really plain and simple. You can go for like gluten-free, dairy-free, you could do whatever. I have my cake supplier who has been supplying my cakes for the last 5 years. Sometimes the parents bring their own cake. That's fine. Then I would say the next thing you need is a theme. So decide what you want. Do you want to go for certain colors? Do you want to go for certain characters? Do you want to go for like, I've done like an airplane theme. I have done like Mickey Mouse theme. I have done just like butterflies and flowers and stars. And I have like 80 or plus cakes on my website with the matching decor as examples that parents can choose from. They can also just say, you know, this is the theme that the child has in their room. Can we do something with that? We can do whatever. Like we can put the name on the cake. Parents can choose certain colors, and then I will work with that. I do have specific backgrounds here in the studio, so I don't have like an orange background. So if they want to have like a theme, like an orange themed cake smash, I would say, okay, I don't have that color background, but I can make banners for you, get some orange balloons or whatever. So it's not like I have every background in every color here in the studio. I have like beige, white, light gray, I have blue, I have pink. They're here. Okay, so this is me straight after a newborn session. So the clients came like 20 minutes early, which is fine, but that's why I was still recording in the middle of probably a sentence when I saw them like getting out of their car. Anyway, so I have no idea where I left off, and somehow in this camera, I feel like the camera's too high as well. Let me just put it a little bit lower. Is that a better angle? I love the boho theme where it's just like an off-white background with like fresh eucalyptus, flowers in the girl's hair. You can do it for boys with like a teepee tent, feathers, just pure simple focus on the child. You can go all out with crazy colors. Okay, so pick a theme and make sure that the cake, the outfit of the child, the background, the decoration all kind of like fits into this theme, so that it's all one beautiful picture. So yeah, for the Cake Smash sessions, I let the parents bring their own outfits. I did have like skirts and stuff here in the studio, but after you wash them like 50 times, they're not getting any prettier. So and like the sizes vary a lot. So I have 1-year-olds wearing size 68, which is like pretty small, and then I have like 1-year-olds wearing size 92, which is quite large, and then everything in between. So as far as sizes, it's a little bit hard. So this is becoming quite an interesting video because this is me after a maternity session. So I was in the middle of recording my second part, and then the clients showed up like 30 minutes early, I think. So we just finished, and we went outside to take some photos, and then inside as well. The sixth part I think you need is a background, and it can be like an extensive backdrop from an official backdrop supplier. It can also be a plastic tablecloth without too much reflection. It can be paper, it can be vinyl, it can be the wall in your own living room, a wall in your kids' room. So you can go for a plain background in one single solid color. You can go for a pattern, you can go for like a special decor in your background. You can create paper flowers in your background. So together with background, you can also mention banners, but you don't have to. For example, in my boho theme background, it's actually this one right here. So it's like creamy white. I could use a banner, but I don't have to. And the floral background that I was sitting in front of just a few minutes ago, it doesn't need a banner. You can go put like a burlap banner on. I have created my own banners. So I would just take a piece of string, cut out pieces of paper, and then with a hot glue gun, just paste them onto the string. So here we have some homemade banners. This video is going to be all over the place, but anyway, I have also bought banners on AliExpress and in stores. This is just like a glitter banner. It's cardboard. I can use the back side and just have it as like a white banner. I can use this side and have it as glitter. It does get dirty. Here you can see one child has they have taken hold of the banner with dirty blue cake hands. It's quite hard to wipe it off. You can try and wipe it off with like a wet cloth, or you just rip off this. Okay, so yes, you can buy, I've had plastic banners in the past, but I don't like the shiny reflection. So most of my banners are either made from felt. I've made some own banners before from felt, or just paper from AliExpress or homemade. And yeah, you can also have these other banners. Like I have banners. I also use these banners. They're from AliExpress. They're with little stars. And let me just see. I mean, you can go for these kind of banners made of gold, like circles. I also have these banners with like some burlap. It says one, then it has ribbons on it. I've showed it in a previous AliExpress shop log, I think. It just says one with burlap. So those are options as well. With paper, you can create everything. I've created Mickey Mouse banners, tractor banners. I've created like little cars, dinosaurs. Just cut them out of paper, paste them onto a string, and you got a banner. Another thing that I think you need for a Cake Smash session, whether it's with a client as a professional photographer or whether it's with your own kids, a balloon. Balloons. Kids love balloons. It helps to break the ice when you don't know the child. It helps to keep a child sitting in one spot because they're so focused on the balloon, they just want to hold it, they want to look at it. So you can actually photograph them without them walking or crawling away immediately. So I always make sure that I have some balloons present. They hardly ever pop. Like some kids have really sharp fingernails or they actually bite into the balloon. So I make sure that normally you could blow up the balloon to be this big. I keep them very small. Also because when they're holding it in front of their face, you can still see the baby. This is actually quite a big one. Sometimes I even keep them smaller so they're like the size of the baby's head or even smaller, like half the size of their head, and then they're not full of air at all, so it's actually quite hard to pop them with your fingernails. So when I start with the portrait photos, I usually give the kids like balloons or like paper balls, decorations, so they have something to play with, something to hold in their hands, and it makes them really happy. I usually like show them how to throw with a balloon, and then they smile at me, which I want, because then I can take a photo of a smiling child. Another thing I think you need is a little bathtub. I only use it for 1-year-old children. It's super cute. This is a small bathtub. It's an antique one. It's like tin in, I don't know. I just fill it up with like this much water and nice and warm. I always ask the parents if they want to check the water temperature, if it's similar to what they use at home. I put some bubble bath in there, like a very neutral one, non-perfume, so the children with very sensitive skin probably won't have any irritations towards the soap, but I'll ask the parents beforehand if it's okay to put the soap in the water, and if they have like eczema or like a skin condition where they cannot have soap in the water, we'll do it without bubbles. We'll just put in water. When the child is in the little bathtub, we blow bubbles. The kids, they love it. It actually helps them to look at different directions. Sometimes they want to pop the bubbles with their finger. It usually makes them smile. I'll ask the parents to sit right next to me, blow some bubbles. Not too many, because then the kids will close their eyes and be like this. Too many bubbles. So just a few bubbles, and it really adds fun to the photo as well. You can see the bubbles in the photo, the child is in the bathtub, so it looks fun. So I would say bubbles. Okay, and then the 10th thing, what do you really need? Wipes and towels, because it gets dirty. I have baby wipes to clean up hands and feet and faces of the little baby. These are the sensitive baby wipes, free from fragrances, no added alcohol, colors, with organic olive oil. Kids respond really well to these wipes. I buy them at the Lidl. And then I also have floor wipes. These ones are also from the Lidl. I use them to clean my backdrops. So they're vinyl, they're not paper. When they get dirty, it's very easy to wipe them off and clean them. I really need them. I also have some towels here. I always ask the parents to bring a towel so they can dry off their own child with their own towel. But then I will put my towel on the floor, clean up the floor, because usually the child has been splashing in the bathtub, and that will just give me an extra wipe to clean off my backdrop, so it's not sticky and it's just not dirty anymore at all. So those were my 10 things. I will add plastic bags to that as well. I have these plastic bags. I know plastic destroys the planet. It's not good, so I can look for an alternative, but kids always have dirty clothes, like the outfit that they were wearing while they were smashing the cake, and the parents need to bring those clothes home, and their swimming outfit will be wet, so I give them one plastic bag to put the dirty clothes in, and then I wrap up the cake. I put it back in the box it came in, and then the parents bring the cake home and they eat it at home. We don't throw away the cake. Cake is not wasted. Parents quite enjoy taking the cake home and then eating it at home. Oh yeah, and while I was just having my coffee, I forgot to mention that I don't use like a cake stand for when the child is actually eating the cake, because like I use a cake stand to take a photo of the cake. So all the cakes on my website, which are there as like inspiration or to choose from, they are standing on a cake stand. But then when I'm actually photographing the child with the cake is just in between their legs, in front of them on the floor. Like there's a little silver platter that the cake is on, so that it doesn't stick to the background and we can actually move the cake around. But it's not on a cake stand, because otherwise there's quite a big chance that the child will just tip over the cake and then get out of there. Also, the cake is quite high in front of their face when the cake is on a cake stand. So that's why I don't use cake stands for a first birthday. But on a second, third, fourth, fifth birthday, yes, I use a cake stand, because then the cake is actually high, which is nice. But also, yeah, cakes can have like number ones on top of them, and then if it's also on a cake stand, the number one will be like in front of their face. So that's why I don't use cake stands during my cake stand session, except for the moment when I'm taking a photo of just the cake in front of the background. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment. I'll see you in the comments. You'll see me in my next video. Bye bye.